Hey, it's Cousin Vinny here, talking to you live again on this great Sunday afternoon. And thanks for listening. Going to be doing a few different things today. I know that I've done some change ups over the last couple of weeks, but a lot of things have happened since. But I want to start off with a happy Mother's Day out there to all the moms. Without mom support over the years, a lot of us would have never gotten to the places we've been and done. For those of you who still have your moms, man, cherish the moment. Spend as much time as you can with them. Those of us who've lost our moms, you think about them pretty much all the time. It's kind of hard not to. So anyway, just wish your mom a happy Mother's Day. Give her a big hug, and just keep the memories alive. We've all been through a pretty tough time the last couple of weeks, and I think that there's still a more of things going on that we don't really fully understand. And sorry if I'm a little distracted. I'm doing a couple of different things today that I've normally not done, and I appreciate that. If just one person listens, that's fine. I don't expect to have thousands and thousands and thousands of listeners, but it's just a process, and I'm going through that. I want to talk a little bit about the big behemoth, the corona, not the beer, but the virus. I would say the last 2 months have been really time testing everyone's patience, and understand that things are tough for everyone. I mean, it's not a joyride for anyone, and a lot of people's opportunities have been set aside for the last 2 months. Personally, I've had some issues too. Everyone's had issues. 2 months ago, at about this time, was having a meeting in Clearwater with someone, a couple of people, and taking direction and new focus and new goals and new excitement in the air as to the new direction of where I was taking the next phase of my life with the podcasting, and then stepping back into real estate again to the degree that I was back in the 90s, which I really, really enjoyed. And this virus jumped in and kind of kiboshed it the last 2 months. But you know what? It gave me the last 2 months to really think about what is it that's most important to me, and what did I learn from all of this? Well, I learned that the virus is not going to get you down. I'm not panicked about it. I'm not really overly concerned about it. As long as you do things that are smart, you'll be fine, and most of us will be fine. It's unfortunate. I've got relatives in the New York area, and they've suffered from some of this, just this craziness that's been going on. So I'm sorry about the sniffles. It seems to be sometimes when I come in here, the studio here, sometimes I get a little bit of a sniffly, and I apologize for that. So the corona has impacted pretty much every single business in this country, in the world. And it's unfortunate, but we will return. We will do better. It's just been tough. And like I said, I was in a path of new discovery, of new excitement. And then 2 months ago, it just pretty much shut down. So now in the last couple of weeks, I've been looking at this thing coming to not an end, but to a point where everyone's feeling a little more comfortable being out there doing things again. And so I'm going to readdress all of that in the next weeks or so, and start bringing out some of my plans. All of us have dreams and goals, and I don't like not sharing things with people. I'm a sharer. If I've got something that I can help you with, I'll be more than happy to do that. And for those of you who are local, it doesn't really even have to be local, because with the system that I have now put in place, that I've been using the last couple of weeks with the StreamYard and the live videos and the podcasting, I can do remotes with you at your business. You saw a few. If you haven't, we've been doing the Crystal River Mall on 2 p.m. every day, pretty much every day. And we preview a new business that's in the mall, or one that's opening up, or who's here. So at 2:00, and I'm getting ahead of myself, but I'll come back to it again. We're doing live streams, and we're doing a podcast with it. We're including a podcast so that we can do that for more redistribution. And so I know when I launched this podcast in October 1st, I didn't know what I was doing. I had all the equipment. I did all my research, got everything I needed to make this thing sound good, feel good, operate well. And, had some radio experience, so I was not totally afraid of the mic. And, there was a friend of mine, Chris, And if I butcher his name, it's a Greek last name, but he's from Clearwater area. He said, start ugly. Just start ugly. Don't worry about perfection. It's not important. It's just that you get started. So on the 1st of October, put out the first couple of simple podcasts, and then started doing a few more, and then kind of got a little lazy and kind of locked off. And then the 1st of January really jumped into it. So since we started in October till about now, we're at about 75 podcasts, which is pretty heavy schedule of podcasting for most people who do podcasting, because most people do just one a week. And I got overambitious with it. And that's just my nature. I go in, jump in, and just go crazy. And there's nothing wrong with that, except that you don't really get the product you want. But I was doing some hit and miss. I was doing some things that I thought were important. But now, after sitting down the last 2 months in this quarantine or this living condition that we're in, and it gave me an opportunity to sit down and say, okay, what's really important? How can I get a message out there? Well, number one is podcasting, doing certain topics, which I'm going to get into in a moment. But specifically, right now, anyone who's watching or listening or even on a rebroadcast, give me a call at 888-738-7381, 888-738-7381. And it's scrolling on the screen below too. Or maybe not. Yeah, it is. Okay. I didn't know if I had a scroller on there. I want you to know that you can call me and let's talk about your business and let's put it on the air. Let's do a live. And all of my lives, if I do a stream, will be at 2 p.m. It's kind of like after lunch, before dinner, and kind of like gives you a little bit of time. Takes you 10, 15 minutes, easy to do. All you got to do is log into our system and you come on. So go back and watch a few of the ones we did with the mall. We're going to be doing some more Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday of next week to previewing the mall and letting them talk about the new businesses, the old businesses that are now brand new, opening back up here in the Crystal River Mall. But again, I can do this from anywhere, from the studio. We can have you on screen. It doesn't really make a whole lot of difference. If you got a cell phone, we can put you on, and it will be a way to help promote your business. And I'm more than happy to do that. We'll do that once or twice. And after that, if it works well for you, then we'll talk about, I'm not doing all of this for free, just like everybody else. But right now, it's part of my learning curve, and I'm not going to have you pay for my education. I'm going to pay for my own, and I'm going to learn how to do it better and better each time. So again, like I started in October, and I was very ambitious, and I thought I could do 3 podcasts a week, which some people told me when I went to the big podcast show in Orlando prior to this thing hitting. Boy, that's really heavy ambition. I mean, that's just a lot of material to cover. And again, depends on how long your podcasts are. I'm not doing half hour. I'm not doing hour podcasts. I'm doing 7, 10, maybe 15-minute quick interviews or pieces of information. So I aggressively, and I'm going to look at some of my notes here. I came out with the Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday format. And with podcasting, you record it, and then it comes out at a certain time. So my goal was to have them, Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday. I would record them at some point. And then at 10 a.m. on those particular days, they would be live and available. Well, after doing it since October, trying to work a scheduling out to get that much material and content done, even though they're not very long, there's a lot of work involved. You're doing the recording part. This is the easy part. You do the recording, sit in front of a mic, you talk, you push play, and that's it, and record. Well, after that is done, then you got to go in and do the editing. You got to take all the bumps and the hisses out, and the coughs and the sniffles, and and the gaps. It takes hours sometimes to do, a 15, 20-minute recording. So now I've streamlined it and have gotten a lot better at it. So my thought is that I'm going to basically relaunch next week on the Cousin Vinny Network. And if you see on the screen, you'll see vinnyderosa.com. That's my primary domain, but you see the cvn.fm. Well, that's a shortcut to my podcast site. So you just go to cvn.fm. It takes you to the player. It shows you all the latest episodes, what the new ones are, what the old ones are. And I'm going to get better on putting show descriptions in there because I was being very generic. Again, this is a learning process. Just like Chris said, start ugly. And I did that. And a lot of people are afraid of doing that, thinking that they've done something wrong. You haven't done anything wrong. You're just learning. And the best way to learn is to do it. So the aggressive schedule that I had that Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday, and I started out with, coming up with catchy little phrases. And I had some help on this. I got to thank her. She was really helpful because we just bat around some ideas and we were just throwing things around and we started talking about different days. And Tuesday, did you know that? Did you know that what? And there's a lot of things that you can play off that. Did you know that? So that will stay in play. It'll be Tuesdays, but I'm moving the time to 2:00. I'm moving everything to 2 p.m. So either it's going to be a live stream at 2, or it'll be a pre-recorded on the podcast network. So at 2:00 on Tuesdays, did you know that? We'll be on there. And I'm going to merge that with the food and the fun and other things so that, if I'm interviewing somebody about a business on a Tuesday, they can talk about their weekend specials or their weekend events or whatever the other things they're doing. That kind of blends those 2 days together on the Tuesdays. Then on Thursdays, it was everything real estate. That I'm going to leave as everything real estate, and it's going to move again to 2 p.m. That's when it will be available on the stream, live stream. And also, if I do a live show, it'll be at 2 p.m. So we're moving everything so that, again, the starting ugly, you go through these transitions. And since October, taking notes and looking down and finding where things work and then finding people available sometimes to come on. Sometimes 10 a.m. didn't work. So 2 p.m. seems to be that sweet point. It's just after lunch. It's before the late afternoon. If someone were going home, they don't mind giving up 15, 20, 30 minutes of their time at 2:00. So everything's going to shift to 2. So if there's a new broadcast out on the podcast on the CVN.FM network, it'll be posted at 2 p.m. on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So the new shows that we're going to have is, they won't be new, but did you know that? And the fun and food stuff and other things will be on Tuesdays at 2 p.m. That's when the new series will be out. And then everything on real estate will be on Thursdays at 2 p.m. And then if we do a live stream, it'll be at 2 p.m. And it doesn't make a difference if it's live or podcast. We'll take that live stream, which what I'm going to do with this one, and convert it into a podcast. And it will be now on the Tuesday podcast of this week. And so that whatever I did during the week, if it's something that's fits into the program for Tuesdays and Thursdays, that's where it's going to end up going. Again, part of it is the the starting ugly thing, and a lot of people are afraid of failure. You don't fail if you don't start. So I've put the time and the energy to get to this point, and I'm really, really excited about being here. I'm really excited about being able to share my thoughts and ideas. And I would love to be able to help others do the same. Feel free to get a hold of me. I'll be more than happy to talk to you about the podcast business, real estate. We're doing a series of real estate classes on podcasts. One of my students who has been volunteering to help me do some stuff, we've done a couple of interviews, and they really are really good. They're insightful. It's 2 persons. It's kind of boring when you hear just one person talk. If you don't have someone on the outside talking to you, asking questions, it's difficult for people to get excited about listening to you. A lot of people like to listen to their own voices. That's okay. If you see, I'm on mic also. And the reason I'm on my mic versus just the computer mic is that I'm also recording this simultaneously in podcast form, so that I'm doing 2 for the price of 1, where a lot of podcasters don't do that. They do a separate podcast and they do a separate video. So again, this is part of that starting ugly. And I've done this in other businesses over the year where I've made some really big mistakes. And this time around, this new move around, it'll be a lot better. I'm going to now be able to use these new tools that I have in front of me, the podcasting, the video casting, to where now I can offer these services to just about anyone, anywhere. Again, we can do it remotely if someone wants to come on, or I can come to your place. I can take everything that's on my desk, throw it in a bag, and we can come sit in your place and do a podcast or a video cast. So I just wanted to kind of talk a little bit about the repositioning, the reopening of the Cousin Vinny Network. And the Cousin Vinny Network is the primary network. Then I have my real estate educational network, which is my Florida Real Estate University network. Got a couple of other people's like the Crystal River Mall, which has their own channel within the network. So we do shows for the mall. and the merchants here in the mall. I also have one from my real estate company, which I haven't really cranked up yet. That's coming soon with someone else that's going to be involved with that, so that becomes another channel of marketing. We also are on YouTube, so we're trying to make sure that we're in YouTube compliance so that we have good content out there. So anyway, I just want to thank, again, I want to thank everyone who watches, listens. Every one of you are important to me. Like I said, if just one person hears what I'm saying and is impacted by it or does something because I was there to help, I'm thrilled. I'm not going to get tens of thousands of downloads. I'm realistic. People come in and ask, and I see this on the forums. Well, how many podcasts should I get in a week? I go, if you get one person, you've done well. You're standing out. Just some statistics out there. There were over 1 million podcasts out there. How many songs are on iTunes? There are billions of songs on iTunes. Now, if you notice lately, you see a lot of people jumping into podcasting. Last night I was watching something, and Dennis Quaid is doing podcasting. You've got politicians that are doing podcasting. Why? It's a direct connect with you. There's no middle person. There's no marketing. There's no advertising. Well, I'll do some advertising. Get me right. I'm going to do some advertising on my other networks for my school and for my brokerage. There's going to be advertising, but it's going to be advertising that helps my company. Podcasting is 1 million podcasts. This was put out by, I think it was Libsyn, or one of the big hosting companies. Out of 1 million podcasts, 500,000 have produced at least 3 or more. Okay. Out of that 500,000, 250,000 have at least 7 or more, or at least podcasting on a regular basis. So out of 1 million podcasts, and when people go, oh, it's saturated, there's no more room, no one's going to be lit. This is just the beginning. This is just starting. Think about it. Most people don't realize you could start a podcast tomorrow with your cell phone. You don't have to have elaborate equipment. You don't have to have fancy cameras. You can do it with a simple cell phone. I chose to do it more professionally because I see this as a business opportunity, not a hobby. It's not something I want to play with. It's something that I want to grow and make profitable for everyone who participates with me. So again, I want to thank everyone that's listened today or watched today. It's not easy, but I try my best. And it says here, you can get everything in life you want if you just help others get what they want. My buddy, Zig Ziglar. I live by his words, and I've got the opportunity in the past to meet the gentleman. Again, this is Cousin Vinny, and I want to thank you for listening. And don't forget, we will be doing our podcast will be now on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 2 p.m. That's when they'll become available on the site. And if we do any live streams, they will be at 2 p.m. I'm going to try putting some music in the background. Yeah, it did work. I'm just, trying to do all the engineering myself. But anyway, I want to thank you for listening and watching, and have a good day, and have a great Mother's Day, and love the ones that you're with. Thank you, and have a great day. See ya.